Okay, so this is specifically for the biogeography lab. There were a lot of questions at the end of class. I figured I'd make these notes and record it now, and then we can talk about it again on Wednesday should people have more questions. Okay, so the first thing is we need to think about what is the lab supposed to demonstrate. We're trying to demonstrate biogeography and how different biomes or islands um, have diversity and diversity richness of species based on a few different factors. Okay, the first few factors we want to look at is the size of the island and how far away it is from the mainland. Okay, so if we have uh, a grid of 3 by 3 for different sized islands here, we can throw bird seed onto these islands and see, based on our tossing and their location and their size, how many seeds land there, and that tells us approximately how many plants would be able to be able to survive on that island, how many insects would be able to survive on those plants, and how many birds would be able to survive on the plants and the insects. So it's a reasonable model for what's going to happen here. Okay. So the first thing is make sure your family knows what you're doing and you're going outside and you're throwing bird seed. Bird seed's highly suggested because it's good for birds. Um, You can use beans or rice, but you have to clean up beans or rice afterwards. Raw beans have a toxin in them that has to be cooked out before consuming. Raw rice is can play problems once it absorbs water inside the bird's stomach. So bird seeds suggested for the environment. Um, I used beans because it was easy to document, take pictures of, but I did sweep up afterwards. So make sure you do that. Okay. Point one, take a piece of tape or chalk and draw down your mainland line. Okay. And then make a host of different islands. You have your small islands and your medium sized islands and your larger islands. Okay. And I think I did 30 centimeters, 60 centimeters, and 90 centimeters for my different islands here. Okay, so that gives us our different sizes. Okay, and then you stay on your mainland and you throw a small handful of seeds towards each island. Okay, record your data and then clean up. Okay, after a couple different trials, what I found out, like I said, first I found beans worked fairly well to see and to pick up and to count. Okay. So I got a tablespoon, filled it up with beans. Turns out there's about 30 beans in every tablespoon. Okay. And then I took that one scoop and I threw it at the island. And then I take another scoop and throw it at the next island and over again. So I went through almost 300 beans by the time I had thrown them all. Okay. Um, And what you should see in the video here is um, not all the beans land on the islands. Okay, so we have um, my mainland right here. Okay, I throw my beans at each little circle. Okay, pretty soon here you'll see my assistant uh, checking everything out. Um, but I just went through again, standing on the line, throwing the beans at each circle as we go. Okay. All right. So why is it not advancing? Next slide. All right. Then I counted the seeds in each circle. Here you can see a pretty good showing. So the first one, I made sure my diameter was 30 centimeters in every direction, and then I completed the circle. And then I just marked the outer lines and then drew the circle. I was pretty comfortable making them kind of island shaped. They don't have to be perfect circles, but you do need to know the total area of the circle you draw. Okay. And like I said before, raw beans and raw rice should never be left out. They are very much harmful to birds. Okay. Okay. And then so the idea is hopefully we're modeling this just like we saw in our notes. as we looked at the area of the island and the distance from the mainland. Okay. When I did mine, okay, like I said, I threw 30 seeds at each island. The largest island that was closest to the mainland got about, what was that, 22, 23 seeds in it. Okay. So I did large island close in, large island middle ways, a large island far away, middle island close, middle island at the middle, middle island far away, small island. Okay. So that's how I graphed it. That is what I'm expecting. I said to do a bar graph for yours. Um, but the interesting thing is Google uh, Sheets actually had a suggestion for the type of graph to use. So I played around with that, and they have what's called a bubble graph, where you could put in the area for each island, and it will make it the appropriate sized bubble. And then you could do the distance versus number of seeds. So you could see big islands tended to have the most seeds, middle-sized islands, okay, and then the small islands. So this is where we could see how far they were away and how many seeds they had. Um, so that we see the big island, even though it's far away, has almost the same number of seeds as the closer one. But the small island far away had very few seeds. So it did support what I was looking at here. This is not the required graph. This is what I was looking for. But if you do find a better way to communicate your information, um, you can try to look at some other ones and see what's the best way to communicate things without being misleading. Okay. So hopefully that helps you with this. Some people asked, do we have to do groups? No, groups are not required. They are an option. If you have a sibling or a friend that you can work with in this, that's more than reasonable for you to collect data. Okay. But when it comes times for analysis conclusions, you always have to work alone because that's where the key understanding and demonstrating mastery comes in. Okay, and with that, I bid you a good day, and I will see you all later.